We are still in Karaki, aren't we?
Oh, I mean, probably. I don't keep track.
It's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
So last time, big, massive sphere of negative energy of the null zone encroached upon the Sundered City. The party decided to go and investigate it. It was asked to investigate it as well by the High Warden, who is essentially the chief of police. And they went in. They saw a lot of interesting things, and interesting in very scary ways. There was the Zegyi, the elemental outsider from beyond the stars that absorbs all of your energy. There was the Drell, a ghostly spiritual force of, again, life absorption. It's a theme in the Null Zone. And there was the terrifying Trillock, a bug-like creature that kind of looks like an amoeba, a pulsating amoeba of energy, attaching itself to people and absorbing their life force and forcing them to fight. So, yeah, it was a horrifying time in there, but you managed to get a lot of intel, which was, very, very helpful intel. And you have successfully made your way back out, but at great cost, as Ruzad the Blastings, unfortunately the player Leggy is not here today. He's feeling extremely woozy today, so is having a break. But Ruzad the Blasting had adopted a halfling child by the name of Hetty, and it turns out that she was a ghost, and had been a ghost all along, and Ruzad had basically been weekending with Bernie, with a small child all this time. And
which I would like to bring up, broke every single theory I had about Hetty in that one moment. I'll be honest, I really thought that Ruzad the Blasting had kidnapped the child of a royal. I thought Hetty
I wouldn't put it past him. I really wouldn't put it past him. But yeah, she gave her life to save the rest of you, and you escaped. Now, a portion of Hetty's soul does live on in Grounded's head. Grounded, being a phantom rogue, is sort of a collector of pieces of soul and fragments of soul. Usually the more the more eccentric souls tend to find their way to Grounded. But yeah, so there's a bit of Hetty there now, who is your performance proficiency. So let's continue. You emerge from the Null Zone, blinking in the light of day. The dust has abated a little while you were away, and a weak light has managed to penetrate. You must have gotten turned around in the infinite blackness, though, because you can't quite work out what street you're on. Nothing really looks all that familiar, and that includes you, Eao, who presumably have walked these streets, well, about a decade now. Oh, a bit longer, actually.
Yep, just slightly longer than a decade.
Yeah, so you've been here a while. You've walked all over the place. As a rogue, you should know your way about. So it's a little unusual that you don't recognize this area.
Do I see any familiar landmarks?
None at all.
Is there anybody around us nearby?
Yes, there is a small brick building off to one side. In front of it is an old halfling man bustling about with signage and with what looks to be a bit like bunting in front of the building. He's wearing a crushed velvet fez. If that helps. It helps me. Everyone should. Yeah. It's very cool.
I'm going to, wave towards him. Excuse me, sir.
He looks up at you, huffs and bustles about his shop and goes, oh, customers, of course, typical, there'd be customers on a day like this. But he bounds over some foot-high brickwork that's around, and then circles his shop and pulls a long cord and says, no, I'll be with you in just a sec, don't worry. The shutters on the front of the building fall away and vanish in a cloud of blue sparks, and a long white banner unfurls itself over the windows, revealing the words Manifrif's Emporium. And he pushes up his half-moon glasses and says, I can't, where was I? Welcome to the shop, I suppose. Yes. Do come in. Yeah. Be careful. The entrance is trapped. I should warn you. Just recite Anas Ferdlore and you'll have no bot.
Anas Ferdlore?
Oh, yeah, not the first or second, to be clear, the third. And you'll have no bother, just to keep out the riffraff, you know.
Can I try and disarm the trap instead of using the password? Because I've literally forgotten it already.
Okay.
Anasparm.
third law. And, okay. You can try to do that. So as you approach the door, give me a perception check to see if you can see what the trap is.
Amas Squidward. Got it.
That's a 6.
That is a 6. Unfortunately, you can't see any signs of a trap. And the small halfling, who presumably is Manafrith, along with the sign, hobbles up past you and says, "Don't worry, I'll say it. He opens the door and he says something, but you're not sure what it is. Actually, tell you what, give me an Arcana check.
Arcana? I'm good at this.
It's good, because I just got a 9.
A 9, you would not recognize what Arnast's third law is.
Arcana... 8. Wait,
8, no.
That's 8. That's 8 plus 7, so that's...
Well, 15. With a 15, you do. So what you recognize he's just recited is Arnast's third law, which you'd forgotten for a second, but now you remember. You've read a few books. And Arnast's third law is about how to play with the weave of magic that runs through everything. It is one of the ultimate laws is that you never break the thread of magic. And yeah, so but he says, don't worry, I've disarmed the trap. Come on in. Welcome.
Trying to go back to my original... what part of the city are we in?
City? Sorry?
Yes, the city.
Well, which city? I've been to a lot of them.
Karaki? We are still in Karaki, aren't we?
Oh, I mean, probably. I don't keep track.
It's going to be one of those days, isn't it?
We're in Karaki anymore, eh?
Well, it's quite simple. You travelled here, right? Where did you travel from?
An endless void full of horrible monsters.
Is it Monday?
It's been a long day.
Well, fair enough. I'll try. I get the feeling perhaps you're not wizards.
No.
You didn't seem to know Arnast's third law. Well, I can still help you. Don't worry. Well, I'll try and dumb this down, so to speak. No offense. As much as I can. You see, you're in a form of the world that's inside another world, inside a world, inside another world. Now, you see, all the worlds, they tilt and turn inside of each other, a little bit like if you twist a sock inside out. Now, if you do that with the world, you get where we are. Does that make sense?
You know, surprisingly, it does.
It'd probably make a little bit more sense if I had a diagram, or perhaps less, I'm not sure. But yes, you're in my sock.
I've always heard it described more as, like, getting lost in the woods.
I suppose if you're one of those sort, you know the kind. Well, I shouldn't say. You might be. Dreadful sort of druids. Ugh. Tree huggers, the lot of them. Haven't read a book because, of course, it would be killing a tree. Nonsense.
But they usually make books out of vellum.
Well, that's killing a goat. It's the same old thing. I prefer parchment myself, but. Anyway, you're here. It would be dreadful not to do business with you. I do love. Well, I'm a fan of business. I've curated this shop for some time now, and we have all sorts of wonderful things. And you look around, and the shop is empty. There is nothing. It's clean. It's perfectly clean. There's not a shred of dust, but there's nothing here. And he pulls out a tape measure and goes, "Okay, who wants to be measured first?"
Okay.
I take a step back.
He runs over to you and says, "Okay, well, let's sort you out. Now, what sort of thing would you really like? Like, what if you could have anything at all, what would you like?"
Yeah, spires of the Glarus desert repairs. I'm supposed to be doing something about that.
I more mean it's something to hold, but we'll work with that. Yes, I can do something about that. And he runs the tape measure along the outside of your leg and goes, "Oh, interesting.
Eao steps forward. Perhaps like a hammer? A smith's hammer?
Do you lead with your left foot or your right? Or have you ever had any other feet at any point?
Usually if I'm climbing up a wall, I start with my right foot.
Right foot, okay, yeah.
I usually catch it with my left foot.
Right foot, okay. And how often do you age, roughly?
I think I age all the time.
All the time. So what I mean is, if a year passes, let's say, in a normal plane. I don't want to get a little too complicated. How many years would you personally age?
A year.
Interesting choice. Okay, thank you. And he sort of hops up onto the stool and starts and puts the tape measure around your waist. And has a look at me and goes, really odd. And you look down at the tape measure and you can see there are no numbers on it. There are instead different weather patterns. And it's like, odd. What's your favourite colour?
What's that sort of orange colour you get in the sunsets? Does that have a name?
Oh yes, I know the one you mean. Orange. Yeah. Okay. Orange. Very good. And one last thing. One final bit. What are all those things floating about your head? The little ghost-like things.
Oh, I think they're ghosts.
Oh, they actually are. Well, okay, very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, they just sort of talk to me sometimes.
Okay. And he hops back and he scribbles down a lot of notes. He goes, well, thank you. And you, miss, do you mind? And he holds the tape measure out again.
Go ahead.
Okay, he hobbles over, and this time he's measuring the width of your ankle. And again, you look down, and none of the measurements are numbers, but this time they're not clouds or anything like that. This time they appear to be letters. Just so you know, your ankle is a V. And he asks you, henbane or monk's foot?
Do I know what either of those are?
Well, roll me a nature check.
That's an @1, so no, I don't.
Nope, no idea. Which word do you like better?
Honestly, no preference.
Okay, no preference, you say. And he hops up on the chair again, and this time is measuring the length of your nose with it. And you sort of look down, you're kind of going cross-eyed to try and see the tape measure, but the tape measure is... It's interesting, it's now looping constantly into spirals over itself. It's no longer a straight line, it's just constantly looping. And he pulls it away and goes, 7 p.m. Interesting. Okay. Have you ever crossed into another plane of existence?
This is getting kind of personal.
Oh, well, sorry. It's just by answering questions, I can make you something a bit better. And
Yes, I have.
yes, okay. Very good. How do you take a hit? Well, you know, if someone were to try and punch you, and let's say that for some reason you couldn't jump out of the way, where do you prefer to be hit? If you can arrange matters, of course.
Probably the center of my chest. That's where it best disperses the force. It'll hurt less there.
Chest center. Okay, lovely. And have you had any adverse reactions, any allergies, or any intolerances to any of the schools of magic?
No.
Okay, no allergies. Excellent. We can work with that. Wonderful. I know just what to get both of you. It'll take a while for me to get it sorted. Of course, this isn't your standard shop. We tailor the objects to you. Think like a high-class clothing establishment. This is going to be made custom for you, but you will find it on your persons when we're done. Don't worry about that. As soon as it's ready, you'll have it in your hand without you really noticing. The only thing is the matter of payment, of course. Now, this isn't cheap, but then of course you're able to find me. People who find me have a lot of money. Don't worry about that. So it'll just cost you 1,000 platinum pieces.
Okay, so what if, by chance, we came here completely accidentally and we don't have any money?
Well, that doesn't make any sense. You don't have any money at all?
I mean, certainly nowhere near 1,000 platinum.
Okay, well, I haven't had any other customers today, so perhaps... Then how did you get here? We're magically sealed.
Well, we came through an anti-magic zone.
Oh dear.
It's been a rough day.
I tell you what then, you do a favor for me and I'll get you these items. Because there is something I need help with, and if there's an anti-magic zone about, that might explain a few of the problems I've been having. Yes, I tell you what, yes. A friend of mine, he runs another shop like this. The kind, you know, hard to get hold of. A specialty item shop. It's I forget where it is at the moment. It's all over the place. I communicate with my dear friend by message, or sending stones. Have you ever heard of those? A little bit like that, anyway. It's a place called Fizwick's BAZAAR. It's lovely. It's wonderful. I do recommend you go and say hello. Things are a bit pricey there if you haven't got much money, but do go say hello. There's this wonderful thing that he's been working on. I shan't say. You'll find it anyway. The only problem is it's very hard to see because the shop is itself invisible. But I don't feel too good about personally going myself. It's a dangerous walk there. Not too dangerous, I'm sure, for strapping young people like yourself. You did say that you aged 1 year every year, right? Or maybe
presumably,
maybe you're not strapping it. Well, no, presumably you are strapping in young then. Okay, excellent. So in that case, you should be able to help me out. It's nothing too bad. You've just got to go across the city, and there's thieves, and I don't. No, I'm a target for thieves. I think it's probably because I always wear a lot of jewelry, but it might not be. Anyway, they are monstrous. But yes, you'll need help. And he pulls open a drawer and starts rummaging in it. And both of you can see into the drawer, and it is empty. But he starts rummaging into it anyway. And he goes, I've got it here. Hang on. Hold on. And he pulls out a lantern. He says, take this. Now, this is a loan. You can only have it, and while you're doing this job for me, okay? The moment you're done with it, I'll have it back. Thank you very much. Trust me, what you're getting is better than that anyway. But what this does, it's wonderful. It's called a revealing lantern. Now, you light it. It's got about 1 hour's worth of oil. Now, you light it, and anything invisible, you'll be able to see it. Anything invisible. Do be careful not to be in the shop when the light goes out. Just make sure it's still lit. Should be fine. It's magical light. As long as it doesn't run out of oil, you've got an hour. Should be plenty. But yeah, don't let it go out. The odd things. Just don't. Yeah.
Can you fill it with normal oil?
No. I'm afraid not. It has to be magical oil, and I've only got an hour's worth. But it should be fine. You're only going to. All I want you to do: go and find Fizwick, find why he's not answering my messages, tell the slimy bugger to answer my messages, and maybe tell him that he still owes me a few thousand platinum. You do that, and we're good. Okay?
Debt collection, got it.
Yes. I tell you what, though, just in case, because you see, if you're collecting from Fizwick, of course, he's like me. He has a few things around, defenses, traps, that sort of thing. You might want something to keep you alive. So, because I want the money, I will lend you a few other things, okay? And you can pick one item each. I will lend you these. Again, I will want them back. But what you will get from me for it, worth way more, obviously. Okay, so he rummages in and he pulls out a few items. And he says, unfortunately, I can't remember what some of these do. Now, I remember some of them, like this here. This, and he pulls out a periapt with, so it's essentially a necklace with a pendant that is a darkened ivory spiral around a roughly sculpted jeweled heart. And he said, this is the periapt of wound closure. Lovely little thing. If you die, you won't, most of the time. So that one's quite helpful. This here, I don't remember much. I remember it's something to do with holes, and it's a silver staff encrusted in rubies, engraved with concentric circles, supporting a large filigree hoop over the top. He said, now, I'm pretty sure you can make holes in any wall or floor that you need to with this thing. I remember there being a cost, but I'm sure you'll find out. And he pulls out a small grey stone. It's made out of, it's like pumice stone. It's been well worn by hands. He puts it down and says, this is very lucky. Very lucky, this stone. It's great to have it. Do keep hold of it. And then he pulls out a silver tube engraved in images of keys and hollow at one end. The hollow end emits a faint trail of black smoke. He says, can't remember what this does, but it's got keys on it, so it must be something to do with doors. And he pulls out a big stone earthenware jug, and it is cracked, and it has 3 words written on it: stream, fountain, and geyser. And he puts it down, and you can hear this sloshing of water, but when you have a look into it, it's bone dry. He says, I forget this one, but I'm sure it's not too important. And he pulls out a small wooden hammer. This is the last one. This one's lovely. Puts it down very gently on this. Says, don't hit that against anything right now, okay? Just not here. Do it elsewhere. And it's great, but don't do it right now. Be very gentle with it. So what would you like? And he points again to the small wooden mallet, the large sloshy jug, the silver wand with keys on it, the stone that has been worn down, that is meant to be lucky, the staff that has something to do with holes, and the periapter wound closure. And says, well, take your pick, one each.
I'll take the stone. It reminds me of home.
Okay, you're going to take the stone. You have a stone of luck. It gives you +1 to all ability checks and saving throws while you have it.
I was going to grab the hammer.
You're going to grab the hammer. Okay, you have the gavel of silencing. You strike it against a hard surface and it casts a silence spell. On that surface, radius of 30 feet, has 10 charges. He says, okay, hand me your map and I'll point out where Physic probably is. I can hold on a minute, and he goes into the back room and he brings out this small brass circle. It looks a little bit like a pocket watch or something like that. He says, this is a useful tool I have for finding magic, useless in here, of course, surrounded by it, but probably point you to the right direction once you're far enough away from me. And he hands that over, so you now have a magical compass, basically.
No, it just works like a video game. It just points to the objective.
It points to the nearest magical items.
Items, specifically, not creatures?
Not items. Creatures, items, any source of magic. But basically, it'll point to the most powerful that's nearby. So while you're in the shop, it's the shop. The shop itself is extremely magical and is surrounded by magic. As you get out of there, eventually, it's not going to be the shop and it's going to be your magical items. And then as you get closer to the thing, it will probably be that, unless there's something else magical around that's stronger than that. So it does literally just act like a compass.
Okay, I'm going to hand him my map of Karaki. That's the only map I have.
Okay, and he looks at it and goes, oh, this place has changed in the last 10,000 years, hasn't it? And he goes, well, and he looks at the compass, he sort of breathes on it and goes, and tries to, and then coughs slightly on it and goes, oh, terribly sorry, and looks at it, looks at the map, and he goes, yeah, and he points to a location in the gold district. He goes, if you head, well, let's see, we're here, and he points down to a location right next to Silver Street. That's where we are. You just want to go to gold, and yeah, check the compass. I can't imagine there's much more magic around here, right? Right?
I'm sure.
I'm not so convinced. And he says, anyway, go on. I'll have to get work. I've got to get to work. Got to make your... Oh, these really are going to be wonderful. I have such wonderful ideas. But yes, I'll need time. I'll need peace. Go get my money, and I shall see you soon. Oh, and of course, thank you. Yes, thank you for shopping at Maniflip's Emporium.
Thank you, Maniflip.
The job.
Go on then.
I walk out.
Chew. Okay. So, can I have... We're going to say a survival check to follow the directions. It's the closest I can get. I'll get one from both of you, and I need one success.
That's a 19.
19, that's it, yeah. I mean, you've got local knowledge anyway, and once you step off the street for a bit, so the street the Manifest is on, you have never seen before in your life. But once you walk a little bit off, suddenly you're in an area you recognize, and you're like, that is weird. That street has never been there before, surely. But yeah, you're able to follow along. You're able to go to the gold district. It takes a little bit of time. It takes about 20 minutes, but you're over there, and you.
By the way.
Oh yeah.
Have we had a check? We haven't had a chance to take a rest at all, have we?
No, none of you have taken a rest yet. No. And yeah, you've still got 2 points of exhaustion grounded.
This
is gonna suck.
I should have made that survival check at disadvantage then.
But technically, yes. I mean, none of you actually have to go there right now. You could stop somewhere and have a rest. It's up to you.
Can I drop by my room and take a rest and grab my stuff?
That's the point. You've also got none of your magical items. You can do whatever you want. You've not been given a time limit, to be clear. And you can probably make a fair assumption that that shop's going to be stuck there for as long as the anti-magic zone's there.
Alright, so I think it probably would be best to get this done tomorrow. We can meet up, do that.
Okay.
And I'll go, and I will also take this time to go meet up with the High Mercer. I'm sorry, not the Mercer, the Warden.
Okay, sure. Okay, so Grounded, you're heading back to rest, and let me just open up the info sheet for the High Warden. Okay, so
also, Nick, DM.
Also, can I set my floating proficiency to Arcana? I think I might need it.
You absolutely can, yes. You can set your floating proficiency to Arcana. I don't think we've set one for Arcana just yet. A ghost. So let me see. You have... It would be boring to do a wizard. You have a... You have a druid who mostly likes to speak in cat meowing. There you go. There is a cat girl in your head.
I've got a... what else is new?
Okay, let me just bring up the High Warden. Okay, so Amberlock is still at the tent. Actually, you're not 100% sure how much time has passed inside of the null zone, Eao. But when you turn up, she looks up and goes, "What happened to your friends?"
We exited the anti-magic zone at a different location. It is rough in there. The rest of them went off to rest.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad they're not,
So,
what do you got for me?
Initial bad news. We made it nearly to the center of the thing, and we saw nobody in there. Occasional pockets of the material plane where magic is viable, but no actual people.
So clerics would be useless in there. All right. Okay.
We also have some interesting creatures in there.
Interesting in what way?
Most of which seem to be susceptible to silvered weapons in some way or another.
Oh, good.
But
they're going to bloody break the bank. All right.
Okay.
Silver.
In order from how we encountered them, one seemed to be a wraith-like creature. It doesn't seem to have anything particularly powerful about it, save from one strange ability where it seemed to split itself into two and then choose the two halves would go off in different directions and it would choose which one it wanted to be. It's hard to explain.
Like an illusion or something like that?
I think it's less an illusion and more both are happening and it chooses which happening stays.
Okay. That's new. What about the other?
The second one is... It's less of a creature you'll fight and more one that will have to be dealt with as it comes up. It's some sort of parasite that attaches to whoever it infects. While it's attached to somebody, it just causes large bouts of irrational hatred towards everything.
She takes a step back and goes, That's not good news.
It's not.
I can't send a team in, you're saying. Yeah, she stands right and goes, well, I can't send a team in then.
Perhaps you can. This creature is exceptionally vulnerable to silver. And if you could find someone and once you start getting the signs of this irrational anger, it just comes a matter of if at least one of the people in the group has a rational head, swing around them with the silver weapon till it hits wherever it is.
I love my men, but that'd be saying something to assume any of them are rational.
Yeah, the guards in the city are, no offense, far from the greatest.
And what's in the center?
We only encountered one of them, but I can't promise it's not more than... It seemed to be some sort of glowing orb. It approaches whoever gets near it, and it seems to degrade them as it touches them. Every time we hit it with one of our weapons, and I show her my rapier, it degraded the weapon. It grabbed hold of some of us and attempted to drain life from us.
She takes the rapier and holds it up to the light and goes, "This is atrocious. Looks like you've left it to rust for like 10 years.
Thankfully, though, this one would actually be rather simple to deal with if you could get there in the first place. If you had while it's grappled onto something, it doesn't move and it just attempts to drain them. So if you had I don't know, a particularly hardy boar or something that you could have it latch onto. Once it's latched onto whatever it is, fire at it from a distance with arrows.
Okay, that could work. That could work. So,
but getting there is the issue, especially with that anger leech. I'm going to call it an anger leech.
We can't send an army. We can't really send a squad. We could
And I'll
send
be
an
honest,
individual, but they'll die. What do we do?
And honestly, that's the rough part. My party, due to lack of magic, we were crippled. We had nowhere near the offensive output we needed to deal with the creatures in there. Not to mention the mere act of entering there is exhausting.
Okay.
The mere act.
You said there were pockets, though, in there, right?
Yes. Pockets of the material plane where magic could still be used. It seems like the dimension, whatever it was slowly eating at it.
Can we move those?
Perhaps you need someone a lot more versed in magic than I to answer that one.
And I too.
Perhaps, and this is the only suggestion I'll give, I can recommend giving. If you can send in a squad good enough to, at the very least, protect a wizard to get to one of these locations so he can check them out. Not going too far in as to give yourself room to retreat, but a small squad perhaps with a wizard, and then he can see what you can do about those pockets of material plane.
None of my men are going to be able to do that. Maybe one of yours can.
I mean, perhaps, but it was rough in there for us. We're not going to... It certainly probably won't be at minimum for a week after what we went through.
What about the
army? We got injuries. The army, honestly, a large group with parasites that feed on life and cause irrational anger.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's not going to work. Okay. I don't know what we can do.
I mean, if you could find some way to non-magically fortify somebody's mind and equip them with some silvered weapons, that would be the best way, but...
I'll ask...
Sadly, my group is fairly dependent on magic for a lot of what we do.
Well, I'll ask around at court. I'll see if... And we've got wizards. They might know. Do you know any good mages? Like, properly good mages?
That is a very good question. Wait, yes, I do. Less of a mage, I do believe she is a druid, yes?
Yeah.
I know a druid who may be able to help, although she's more known for her fiery approach to situation.
She
is under my employment. Yes, this is very much a pun. She is very much an arsonist. A magical one.
I tell you what, this is probably the first time I'm ever going to do this, but roll me a charisma saving throw, please.
Charisma?
This is something I will let the player... I'll let you know and remember that I did describe about her last time, but this was 2 weeks ago. That your character probably would remember, but I'm going to say if you fail the charisma saving throw, your character's just forgotten in the moment. You know, as you do, you like when you're talking, you just briefly forget, and then you go, oh, shit, I can't believe I said that. Like that, basically.
15.
Okay, she is a fire genasi, who you're talking to at the moment.
I'll be honest, I did absolutely forget that. I am hoping that when I brought up that she was a pyromancer, she realized the fire pun was about the mage I'm talking about, not her.
I'm gonna roll a d20 to see if she's gotten offended by you. No, you're good. Okay. She goes, alright, okay, so she's a pyromancer. Fire doesn't work in there, but it's worth a go. Maybe she'll know more about it, but I think we might need a wizard, honestly, like someone who's studied.
Perhaps, but this druid is literally all I have when it comes to heavily magical folks right. That I can spare.
Okay, I'll look in the court, see what I can find. You try with the druid, and we'll report back in 48 hours.
2 days, that gives me time to get some other stuff done as well.
Okay, good. All right, well, and waves away. I'm sorry, but I've got to get back to this.
Yeah. One last question. Any word from the High Mercer?
Not seen him at all.
Also, how long have we been in there? I'm sorry, that was 2 questions.
How long? Oh, about 3 hours.
Does that match up with roughly what we felt?
Yeah, you probably would have felt 3 hours roughly past. Certainly, there's not been any weird time going on intentionally. You probably would have lost track of time, though, because of the lack of sunlight and all that in there.
Then, bright side, seemingly no time dilation.
Well, that's good. Okay, over to Grounded. Grounded, you've gone to the inn to rest. Eao, I presume you're now going to the inn to rest as well and recover your magical items.
Yeah.
And so, Grounded, you've chosen Arcana as your ghost advisor in your head. Your ghost advisor goes, wow, but might choose other animals if you upset her. And it's just purring away constantly at the moment. So you will lose 1 level of exhaustion and after having a long rest if you've eaten and drank today. You already have, actually, because this is still technically the same day where Lisanne brought snacks. So several months ago. So you've all eaten, you've all drank, and it's probably mid-afternoon now, so you can rest. You can go to bed early if you want. You're probably pretty tired. I mean, you literally have 2 points of exhaustion. Mechanically, you're tired. So you can go to bed if you want.
I believe I'm still only stuck at 1, so...
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
While we're doing this, I would actually like to speak with Grounded.
Go for it.
Heard of that spell?
It's very specific.
Speak with Grounded. It lets you talk only with this one tiefling. Like, it takes away your ability to talk with other people as well. There's something we need to talk about.
Is this when I use my inherent Neverland's degree to force my way into your mind and ruthlessly throw away your thoughts? I'm very sorry about that.
No, look, I understand. We were in a rough situation. What did you see?
Would you believe I just saw lots of beans, lots of beans, lots of beans, lots of beans?
No, I wouldn't. What did you see?
Okay, so everything looked like a forest. I saw that you were probably planning to garnish our wages, and by garnish I mean literally steal them.
Yeah.
Remember what happened the last time we were screwed on pay?
And last question, and this is an important one. That hag of yours, did she see as well?
No, I think she'd left.
Actually, this would be something that Nick would know. Would the hag have also seen inside my mind?
It's something I would know, but maybe not say.
Would I know whether or not the hag would know?
No, you would not.
I don't know. I kind of messed up. I mean, technically I only owe her a favour, so it's not like I literally let her into my mind or anything, except I sort of did because I thought she was a ghost, so she might have been in my mind. So while I was in your mind, she must have been in my mind.
Okay. Can you bring her out? Can we? Because I need to confirm this.
Can I do that?
You can change your floating proficiency once per long rest, I believe. Or is it short rest?
Once per short or long rest.
Then you can do it every hour if you want.
Hey, I changed my proficiency to alchemy and bring out the hag.
Pretty! What are we doing today?
Okay, just a quick question. While I was reading her mind, did you see anything?
Oh! Well, what didn't I see? I saw the huge amoeba. Did you kill it, darling?
No, I just sort of screamed and ran away.
Very good. Very good. Very good. You see one of those again, you kill it, alright, darling?
Hey.
So did she see anything?
She seems more interested in the giant anger blob.
I suppose that's good for now. I would, if you could, keep the forest thing to yourself.
Hey.
You know what they find in forests? The monk's bane makes a delectable poison. We should go pick some.
I'll remember that if I need to poison anyone.
I'm sorry, what?
So I heard, a surprising amount of creatures are actually immune to poison. Don't know what's up with that.
Well, people aren't.
That wouldn't be very nice, though.
Oh, but it's fun, dearie. Oh, it's fun. Ah, you just make them tea and then end their lives.
Just so we're clear, if any of the tea you sold me is bad, does that mean our deal's off?
Dearie, our deal's never off. I don't think you're quite getting to the bottom of this. You're in my pocket until I say so.
Well, I've already been in someone's pocket and I found my way out.
We'll see about that, dearie. We'll see about that. If you can't find any monk's foot, try using henbane.
Does that only work on chickens?
Oh no. Oh no, it works on anyone. It does kill a lot of chickens, though.
I was very confused because I'm only hearing one side of this conversation.
Chickens, Eao, the chickens!
Is there anything else you would like to ask the hag while she's in your mind? Otherwise, she's going to start just reciting like little Disney songs that end in how to kill people every time.
Hey, so you didn't see anything from inside her mind then?
Oh, dearie. You don't ask a question like that.
I just did.
She cackles. Well, no, I can do that for her. She goes,
Oh, well, that would be telling, dearie. That would be telling.
Can I tell if she's just bluffing?
she's going to whisper something in your direct messages. There you go. And then disappears from your mind in a cackle of...
You're not gonna like this. She kind of wants me to kidnap you in your sleep.
Honestly, not the first person who's wanted to do that.
Didn't actually say specifically when, so I think I'm in the clear.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Are you all heading to bed for your relaxation?
Yep, and I'm switching my efficiency back to Arcana.
Okay, you just hear... just purring constantly. Okay, you head to bed, you have a good 8 hours of sleep, and Grounded, you wake up feeling a bit better. You've lost 1 point of exhaustion. Eao, yours hasn't gone.
Ah, that's not great.
For those playing at home, Glarus's and resides aren't gone either. Okay. What's the plan?
But to be clear, we did recover all of our temporarily reduced hit points.
Oh yes, your hit points are back, your hit point maximum is recovered, you've got all your spell slots back if you've got any, and all your features are back. Everything is normal with the exception that you do still have 1 point of exhaustion.